And he had a problem with that because he was very biblical. He was very, he had all these different reasons for not wanting to do that. But if you think about it, let's take the example of selling insurance. Or if you're selling vitamins, even, fear to sell is a really great way. It's a really great strategy, actually, because you're thinking about someone who comes down with a deliberate illness. Vitamins is a great prevention, and so fear of loss is a really great strategy. But he didn't want to go for that. But people do buy on emotions, and that's a good thing. Now here's an expensive watch, a vanity, right? And if you don't think vanity is a good reason to buy something, when people really buy a timepiece like this, they're looking for something like prestige. They want to, it's almost kind of self-elitist in a way, right? But no one cares about looking like this, but people use them. And there's a reason why there's a big price gap between an expensive watch and one that only costs $2. And your goal, no matter what you're selling, is to appeal to someone that has either an affluent market or somebody who really wants to sees the value of what you're selling. I mean, even vitamins. You can go down to CVS and buy vitamin C's for like 2 for $4, little bottles, or you can buy some powder stuff that jumps into your cells and activates your digestive system in like 30 seconds. It bypasses the digestion system, right? And that's $18 a bottle. Think about that. As if you're making money on things like that, you want to really pay attention, really close attention to the kind of language that you're using. Again, this is another example. That's a McDonald's cheeseburger. You all know what those taste like. That's Wolfgang Pucks. I don't know which one you like better, but I think Wolfgang is kind of an interesting guy. So one's 89 cents, and the other one is like $10. But that's the difference. And you want to appeal to that, and you can do that because with words, you can unlock the imagination and get people to go into like a buying mode. And you can do it for any subject. I'm actually in 50+ industries, and I've seen this work, and it's really exciting to see what happens because you start to look at triggers and what makes people really buy different things. How does translate? What this looks like? You're looking at my actual website, and if you've never really thought about this before, I encourage you to try it just for fun. I wear boxing gloves because I beat up search engines, and I got the Donald Trump power tie, and that's kind of a fun thing, But the headline's real. I mean, that's one of my guys. He's a fence company. He was selling these things. It's huge fence jobs, 40,000 or 20,000 a piece. I'm sorry, but this is kind of a cool thing to analyze. These headlines are something you should put on your site. Not every site you're going to create is going to have sales copy like this on it, but I do encourage you to play around with this style and this format. You should have a couple sites like this under your belt at some point because it does a lot of great things for convincing your clients and potential prospects that you're definitely worth it. So let's analyze this a little bit. There's some psychology in here that's really, really important for sales copy. One, I display myself as an expert. I got the 17-minute miracle. I'm going to go into that too, because that was inside the flyer, and I want to understand exactly the power of that. A lot of my press releases and sales copy, classified ads, they do go live in 17 minutes, just like Mark's, and I do a little twist on them. I put a little sales copy in there, so they're emotionally driven. That's the challenge, to take a sentence fragment, a long-tailed keyword phrase, and turn it into an emotional sentence, and that becomes the title of your page, your blog, or your classified ad. It takes a little bit to kind of spin it and make it look good, but it's definitely worth it. And I really try to get as much emotion out of someone as I can, Now, the other thing, too, is that you notice that this particular headline right here, I'm sorry, you probably can't see, the double-stacked one that says, who else wants the #1 Google ranking, that's a double-stacked headline I like to use Tahoma. I tested all this stuff. Tahoma typeface, and if you bold it, does a really great job of convincing people that you're serious. There's a psychological trigger that goes off in people's minds that when they see that, they say, oh my gosh, this is really, really serious. And if you put quotes on it, it looks like it came from someone speaking of authority. I can't tell you what that's done for getting my phone to ring. It's been pretty interesting. I also play with different types of weights of the type. And if you look at where it says warning, that's an interesting one. Underneath the Twitter icon on the left, warning is a really great thing because you see that word and you think, oh wow, I've got to pay attention. I don't want to lose out on this good information. Or attention's another good one you can use. And sometimes you can use red. So my colors I like to use for a sales copy of this nature, if it's a long sales copy, I like to use a white background because white just says it. You know, it gets in people's attention radar, which is what I want to do. And I use black and I use red. And sometimes yellow highlighter, you know, on the text. But that's basically all I do. And for something like this too, I try to work in as many keyword phrases as I can into the sales copy so it gets picked up properly. There was a little something to be said about the H tags earlier. H1 tags, H2, I think it was H1 to H4. That's really great to do if you can use it and make it look stylish so it fits in. Because what happens is Google likes it, it seems to pick it up pretty well. And it holds its position for you. So that's something you want to consider. Tahoma and Arial Black is basically all I use. Now let's talk about this for a second, because I think we can have some fun with this. Why do people buy things? And it's because mostly vanity. I'm just going to read them off. Vanity, self-importance of the ego, and if you don't believe that, look at all the different kind of cars we have out there. And sinks, too. I'm seeing this a lot in sinks lately. Designer kitchens and granite tabletops and these crazy-looking sinks and faucets. Sloth mentality. That's an interesting one. People like to think they can get something for nothing. That appeals to a lot of people, for whatever reason. Taking the easy way out, you know. Fear. We talked about that a little bit. People like to sometimes buy out of fear, or fear of loss. And that's on there, too. People don't want to miss out on something. Greed, that's another one I like to appeal to because that's an interesting emotion. And if you deny any of these emotions for biblical reasons, I really do believe that you're kind of closing the door on the human condition. Because if you're honest with yourself, people do buy an emotion. They do buy from different price points based on these areas. And it gets really interesting when you start studying human psychology and why people buy. There's a great book called Triggers by Joe Sugarman, which is really good. You might want to check that one out. It's one of my favorite ones. Keeping up with the neighbors. I had an uncle, he had 5 kids. He'd always buy whatever his neighbors bought for his kids, whether it be a pool. He felt pressured, you know, or it could be a better fence to keep his dog in. Kind of interesting if you're selling stuff like that, any kind of home repair stuff. And I would spin it like, roof repair damages can cost up to X this year, you know. Is your home protected? Do the same thing with insurance, too. I did a real fun sales copy piece for a guy who sold hot tubs, talking about what can happen if you put the wrong chemicals in the pipes.